Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Pooja Malhotra from Dyal Singh College, Karnal. Today we are going to talk on module Quality of Work Life from the paper Principles and Practices of Management. Let us talk about the learning outcomes. After completing this module, you will be able to understand the concept and meaning of quality of work life. You will be able to understand the dimensions of quality of work life. We will understand the benefits of quality of work life, and we will also describe the principles of quality of work life. Quality of work life is an important aspect of human resource management. Quality of work life refers to the relationship between an employee and an employer to cater to the needs and expectations of each other. For an organization, human resource is an important resource among all other resources. A successful organization utilizes optimally the skills and abilities of its employees. For this, it also has to provide a congenial and a productive environment to its employees. The concept of quality of work life got its prominence after a number of attitudinal surveys that were conducted at University of Michigan to check the quality of an individual on the job. The surveys were conducted during the period of 1969 to 1973. In India, the concept of quality of work life gained attention in mid 1970s. If the companies want to grow, they will have to treat their employees as an important resource and hence provide all those facilities which are required to improve their productivity, both at personal level as well as at professional level. Let's discuss the meaning of quality of work life. Quality of work life reflects the relationship between employees and the working environment provided to them. Quality of work life requires the organizations to make provisions of such a conducive environment for the employees so that they can be satisfied and that can enhance their productivity. Quality of work life can also be defined as a concern about the impact of work on people as well as on organizational effectiveness and the idea of participation in organizational problem solving and decision making. Walton defines quality of work life as a process where an organization caters to employees' needs and allowing them to participate in decision making process. He has provided various dimensions of quality of work life programs such as adequate and fair compensation, safe and healthy environment, development of human capacities, social integration, growth and security, social relevance, constitutionalism, and total life space. So these criteria include: first, adequate and fair compensation. There are different opinions about adequate compensation. The Committee on Fair Wages defined fair wage as the wage which is above the minimum wage but below the living wage. Second, safe and healthy working conditions. Most of the organizations provide safe and healthy working conditions due to humanitarian requirements and or legal requirements. In fact, these conditions are a matter or enlightened self-interest. Third is the opportunity to use and develop human capacities. As contrary to the traditional assumptions, quality of work life is improved to the extent that the worker can exercise more control over his or her work and the degree to which the job embraces an entire meaningful task, but not a part of it. Further, quality of work life provides for opportunities like autonomy in work and participation in planning in order to use human capabilities. Next is opportunity for career growth. Opportunities for promotions are limited in case of all categories of employees, either due to educational barriers or due to limited openings at the higher level. So quality of work life provides future opportunity for continued growth and security by expanding one's capabilities, knowledge, and qualifications. The next one is social integration in the workforce. Social integration in the workforce can be established by creating freedom from prejudice, supporting primary work groups, a sense of community, and interpersonal openness and upward mobility. Next is constitutionalism in the work organization. Quality of work life provides constitutional protection to the employees only to the level of desirability as it hampers workers. It happens because the management's action is challenged in every action and bureaucratic procedures need to be followed at that level. Constitutional protection is provided to employees on such matters like privacy, free speech, equity, and due process. Next is the work and quality of life. Quality of work life provides for the balanced relationship among work, non-work, and family aspects of life. In other words, family life and social life should not be strained by working hours, including overtime work, work during inconvenient hours, business travel, transfers, vacations, etc. The next one is social relevance of work. Quality of work life is concerned about the establishment of social relevance to work in a socially beneficial manner. The worker's self-esteem would be high if his work is useful to the society, and the vice versa is also true. Now, to sum up, we can say that quality of work life aims at providing job satisfaction to the employees, which can enhance their efficiency and productivity. In present scenario, employees not only need fair remuneration, good working conditions, stability of job, and social security, but also an environment which can give them satisfaction that they are contributing towards the success of the enterprise by participating in decision making process which affects their quality of work. Let's discuss the dimensions of quality of work life. Quality of work life is a multi-dimensional concept. It shows its concern towards the employees of the organization. The aim of quality of work life is developing a work environment that ensures dignity to the employees, stimulates his creative abilities, and facilitates self-growth. The main aspects of quality of work life are promotion of human dignity, collaborative work, participative determination of work changes, workers' participation in quality improvement programs, social integration in the work organization, social relevance of work life, fair compensation and security, learning and growth opportunities, works and total life space, and safe and healthy working conditions. Now let's discuss these dimensions one by one. The first one is satisfactory and fair compensation. The employees should be given adequate and fair compensation as per their efforts involved in the job. The compensation should be competitive and should be able to help them to maintain their desirable standard of living. The compensation should be market driven and should also consider various internal and external factors like cost of living, financial position of the company, job evaluation, etc. Safe and healthy working conditions. The organization should provide hazards-free work environment to the employees. The work environment should be favorable to safety, and health of the employees. There should be reasonable working hours, cleanliness, safety measures, and proper ventilation, etc., for providing a safe and healthy working environment. Opportunities for career growth. The employees should be provided career opportunities so that they can expand their existing skills and develop new abilities and skills. And these opportunities should be provided on a continuous basis. Effective utilization of human capacities. In present scenario of automation and technological advancements, the job should provide challenging tasks to the employees. The organization should effectively utilize the skills and abilities of the workers. Social integration in workforce. The workers should be socially integrated. There should be trust, equal treatment, development of team spirit, fulfillment of their social needs, etc. Constitutional protection. Quality of work life provides constitutional protection to the employees so that management actions or decisions can be challenged. So employees must be given their constitutional rights on such matters like free speech, equity, etc. Work-life balance. There should be proper balance between personal life and work life of employees. Late hour duties, frequent and long travels, quick and far away transfers are both psychologically and socially very costly and also work against quality of work life. Socially relevant jobs. The jobs should also provide social welfare to the employees. Organizations should be socially responsible. They should give due concerns to social causes like consumer protection, employment, pollution, etc. These efforts can enhance quality of work life. Let's discuss some benefits of quality of work life. In general, the benefits of quality of work life are twofold. First, it provides benefits to employees and helps in providing satisfied and productive employees. And second, it provides benefits to the organization and provides a more efficient and profitable organization. So let's discuss some of the general benefits of quality of work life. Self-esteem. It helps in providing greater self-esteem. Self-esteem refers to positive feelings towards one's self. So quality of work life helps in achieving this objective. Second is job satisfaction. It helps in providing job satisfaction because employees feel involved and give greater contribution towards the organizational goals with the help of quality of work life. Third one is positive feelings. Quality of work life helps in creating more positive feelings towards the organization, due to which the employees feel more committed towards the organization. The next one is growth and development of individual. Quality of work life ensures growth and development of individual as a person as well as a productive element of the organization. Next one is quality of work life helps in decelerating accidents, absenteeism, and labor turnover. And quality of work life helps or results into higher quality and quantity of output of goods and services. Let's discuss the principles of quality of work life. To improve quality of work life, there are 4 basic principles. The first one is the principle of equity. Equity means equal treatment. So equal treatment should be given to all employees. The differences between workers doing same job and with same level of performance must be removed. Equal rank, equal pay norm should be followed. Second principle is the principle of safety. Safe and secure working conditions should be provided, which can eliminate fear of loss of job, accidents, and hazards, etc. Job security and safety at work should be provided. The third principle is the principle of individualism. Every employee should be given an opportunity to grow and develop his abilities and personality. Employees should take active participation in decisions that affect their job design and working conditions. The last principle is the principle of democracy. Authority should also be given along with responsibility to employees. Desirable participation in the decision-making process improves the quality of work life. So authority should also be given along with the accountability. Let's talk about the role of Human Resource Department in quality of work life. The role of Human Resource Department in quality of work life efforts varies widely. In some organizations, top management appoints an executive to ensure that quality of work life and productivity efforts occur throughout the organization. And in most of the cases, these executives have a small staff and must rely on Human Resource Department for help with employee training, communications, attitude, survey feedback, and similar assistance. In other organizations, the department is responsible for initiating and directing the firm's quality of work life and productivity efforts. Perhaps the most crucial role of the department is winning the support of key managers. Management support, particularly top management support, appears to be an almost universal prerequisite for successful quality of work life programs. By substantiating employee satisfaction and bottom line benefits, which range from lower absenteeism and turnover to higher productivity and fewer accidents, the department can help convince doubting managers. Sometimes, documentation of quality of work life can result from studies of performance before and after a quality of work life effort. Without documentation of these results, top management might not have continued its strong support. Department also has both a direct and indirect influence on employee motivation and satisfaction. The policies and practices of the department also influence motivation and satisfaction indirectly. The rigorous enforced safety and health programs, for example, can give employees and supervisors a great sense of safety from accidents and industrial health hazards. Likewise, compensation policies may motivate and satisfy employees through incentive plans, or they may harm motivation and satisfaction through insufficient raises or outright salary freezes. The motivation and satisfaction of employees act as feedback on the organization's quality of work life and on the department's day-to-day activities. Let's discuss the strategies for improving quality of work life. Quality of work life is the shared responsibility not of the management and workers but also of the union leaders, government officials, and behavioral scientists. So there are some of the strategies to improve quality of work life. The first one is job redesign. Job design influences employee satisfaction, motivation, and productivity. So jobs should be redesigned to enrich them. Job enrichment helps to satisfy higher order needs by providing interesting, stimulating, and challenging work. The next strategy is career development. Opportunity for career development and growth personality improves commitment. Career planning, counseling, second careers, etc. help to meet expectations of achievement-oriented employees. Our next strategy is autonomous work groups. Employees are given freedom of decision making. In such a group, the workers themselves plan, coordinate, and control their activities. It is also called a self-managed work team. Flexible work schedules. Flexible working hours, reduced work week, job sharing, part-time employment, and other types of alternative work schedules provide freedom to employees in scheduling. Participative management. Employees are sent to participate in deciding matters which affect their lives. Therefore, quality circles, management by objectives, suggestion system, and other forms of employees' participation in management helps to improve quality of work life. Job security. Adequate security of job is a high priority of employees and that should also be provided. Administrative justice. The principles of justice, fair and equity should be applied in disciplinary procedure, grievance procedures, promotions, transfers, work assignment, leave, etc. Organizational reward system. The organizational reward system must be used as an integral part of broadly oriented programs of organizational change. Management should effectively design the programs and ensure that the reward systems are operated in a congruent way in the organization. So, as we have discussed various strategies for improving quality of work life, there are some other alternate work arrangements which can be employed by employers to improve quality of work life. Many employers have found it beneficial to allow alternate work arrangements for their employees. So, this is one way to improve employee productivity and morale. There are three alternate arrangements that are widely used today. The first one is telecommuting. Telecommuting is the term used to describe the work situation in which the employee works outside the office, usually at home or at a location which is closer to home. In general, when one telecommutes, he or she communicates with the office via telephone and email and may go into the office periodically to touch base with the employer and to attend the meetings. Advancements in technology have made this possible for many people to telecommute. The telecommuting employee may be able to access files on the office network from remote locations, and with conference call or video conferencing and WebEx capabilities, the employees can attend meetings from other locations also. With WebEx technology, meeting attendees can sit at their own computers and view the meeting organizer's computer desktop via the internet. As the meeting organizer opens applications and moves the mouse on his or her computer, the remote attendees can see those same applications and movements as if they were running them on their own computers. The next alternate arrangement can be flexi-time. Flexi-time is another name for flexible work hours. Although most employees with flexi-time do work a full 8-hour day, they can start and end the workday at a time which is agreeable to both the employer and the employee, rather than the traditional 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. work a day. Most employers require their employees to be in the office during core hours like 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. but do not mandate the start and end times. Alternate work schedules like flexible schedules involve working outside the traditional 8 to 5 work a day. However, alternate schedules have a fixed start and end time, whereas flexi time allows the employee to vary start and end as long as they are there during the core hours. An alternate schedule may be like 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. or 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. 5 days a week, or it may be hour for 10-hour days or any other different schedule. So the advantages of these alternate work arrangements to the employee will include like flexible work hours, shorter or no commute, and a comfortable working environment. The advantages to the employer include less need for office space, increased productivity, lower use of sick leave, and improved employee morale. While there are many advantages to these alternatives, there are also several disadvantages that the employer must consider also. These include problems maintaining adequate staffing coverage, difficulty in scheduling meetings, lack of interpersonal dynamics, and concerns about safety and security. For flexi time and alternate schedule employees that come in early or leave late. So it is up to the employer to weigh the advantages against the disadvantages to determine if any of these alternatives will work. To improve the quality of work life and eliminate job stress, employers can also make efforts to be more aware of the workload and the job demands. Employers need to examine employee training, communication, reward systems, co-worker relationships, and work environment. Employees often are able to give employers the best advice on reducing work stress. Employees in the future will likely to be looking for corporations that have a new work environment. The environment that can encourages each employee to work towards improvement in the product or the service it provides. It also gives the employees the responsibility and authority to make decisions, provides timely feedback, and rewards employee based upon the quality of the product and efforts. Team effort will assume central importance, especially that of self-directed work teams. Employees will choose employers who have aims and values that match their and who value balance in their employees' lives. Employees want to learn and advance, so opportunities for professional growth will attract employees. Companies will seek employees with technical skills, vision, and the ability to organize and persuade in presentation of ideas and information. Strong communication skills and the ability to learn will be high on employers' demand list for employees. So companies need to be exploiting those points of convergence and continuously. There are a great number of common elements between employee list and the employer list. To attract and retain employees, companies need to be exploiting those points of convergence and continuously work with the employees to redesign the work, eliminate job stress, increase job autonomy, provide learning and training opportunities, and improve the quality of work life. So to summarize, we can say that from this lecture what we have learned is quality of work life is an important aspect of human resource management. It represents the relationship between employees and the work environment. What kind of quality of working environment is given to the employees that will affect their productivity and ultimately the success or failure of the organization. Hence, organizations will have to devise certain quality of work-life programs that can lead to more satisfied and productive employees. The quality of work-life programs should respond to the employees' needs. They should provide suitable and fair compensation, safe and healthy environment, career growth opportunities, social recognition, social security, personal and professional development opportunities. Thank you.